Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Leah. My channel is Florida Native. If you're new to my channel, I do speak on topics of spirituality and uplifting others and believing in yourself and connecting with your creator, which I call the universe or God, your higher self, all that is, the Most High, however you want to name that energy of unconditional love. And I wanted to follow up on the video that I made recently about a narcissistic slash empath dynamic that I myself have experienced in my life and in a romantic relationship. And sometimes this could also be family dynamics. It could be a mother, it could be your father, it can be a friend of yours that you've had for a long time, and it could be new friends. It could be just about anyone with those traits, or someone who has actually been diagnosed. Of course, I don't cover that aspect of narcissism. I know in the last few years there has been so much talk about people that are narcissists. And again, I'm not a medical professional, and I do not do diagnoses, and I don't, I won't get into that part of it. But I also wanted to discuss the spiritual aspect of this phenomenon. Really, it's so prevalent, and I didn't grow up knowing about this, what they call narcs, but in general, you want to try to, if you're going to surround yourself or have people in your circle, to always, have your heart open and go with good intentions. And sometimes you will bump into people that don't have those great intentions, or they're coming from maybe a place of fear or lack or jealousy, or however they were brought up, or maybe a different level of maturity, or maybe I would call it more of a difference in priorities. And a lot of these narcissistic people, I would say, have some deep-seated pains, have deep-seated wounds. And of course, you could do your own research on that. I know many of you who possibly are watching this video right now have been possibly dealing with that or learning about it, and just like everything's starting to click, and you just happen to, see a title of a video, or hear someone tell their story. And you could probably hear or listen or watch many videos on people's actual experiences. I don't really know how many. Most of the videos are general overviews on that narcissistic empath dynamic. But so I didn't really want to talk more about that, because, honestly, if anyone who's been through that situation, it takes more than 1 hour long video to talk about the different nuances, the treatments, the prolonged gaslighting, the prolonged manipulation. Some are covert, what they call covert narcissists. So a lot of whatever it involves a lot of manipulation over time. And unfortunately, there are people that operate at that level. But what I wanted to discuss today, to talk more about this spiritual aspect, and possibly why you, as a spiritual being, had to go through what you went through. So bear with me, because if you have gone through this situation where you felt manipulated, you didn't feel safe in a relationship, you were lied to, you were, gaslighted a lot, you were separated, or someone was trying to separate you from your friends, your family, isolate you, was always talked down to, just you start to question yourself, like, okay, is this really who I'm with? If you can detach, and it's not a laughing matter, so anyone who's actually gone through this, I commend you, and you've survived, and you've come out the end all in one piece. Sometimes they're broken pieces, and it might take some time to put the pieces back together. It just depends on what everyone's situation will be different. It depends on if you've been through, what else you've been through in life, what else have you experienced, what other things have you overcome. And some of us have actually overcome a lot in our lives, especially in the love relationships, the romantic relationships in our lives. So, maybe we could spot these tendencies. And my take on it is that we learn these lessons, and it's not by accident that we, maybe 1 out of 10, and that's just a number, it's not statistics or anything like that, but let's say, for example, 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100 relationships, you will experience where there's this imbalance, where you meet someone who lives by these certain principles, and you could go as far as to say they're distortions of what is true. That because really, someone who acts in this energy is constantly trying to find fulfillment from outside of themselves. And in my channel, I really try to focus on finding that peace and everything that you need within, which you really and you truly can find it from within. So it's actually a very fitting subject, because where I focus this channel, and I put my main focus is on finding that strength, finding that path, that God self, that spark, that inspiration from within. A narcissist, or let's just say that type of personality, or someone who is in that energy, which is a energy of fear, really, an energy of lack. So some of you aren't able to, and if you're in that relationship, it's hard to understand because you don't operate in that energy, where you assume that person has the right intentions, or because that's either what they say, or they're having you to believe, or you're kind of caught by surprise because you don't normally surround yourself with people that think that way. But I can promise you there are people that think that way, and it's unfortunate. So the question you have to ask yourself is why? Why did I go through this situation? Why didn't I listen to my intuition back then? Why, there's a million questions that might be going through your mind. And I just want you to come to a place to understand that if someone is trying to manipulate you for their own self-serving goals, so that they can, I'm not even sure, it's really hard for me to explain because I don't know why someone would move. And even if they come from a place of hurt, like deep-seated childhood wounds, some people, a lot of people, go through abandonment issues. They've gone through neglect. They've gone through so many things. It's our foundation and the tools that we have, that we worked on throughout our relationships throughout the years. That's why, again, I talk about going within and knowing thyself, and really working on taking that time to do the work and ask the hard questions and meditate and sit in silence and let the answers come to you, and just listening to others if they have a story that's similar. So some of you might be in a situation where you're just asking all these questions of yourself, what you could have done differently. And 9 times out of 10, there wasn't anything except for leaving that you could have done differently. So don't be mad at yourself, because that person was more than likely lying to you and using your emotions and your feelings, and more than likely they were observing you and they knew exactly where to push those buttons. So number 1, detach from those emotions that you have for yourself, that regret, that anger at yourself, that disappointment in yourself, right? We all have been targets, sometimes in a different way, at different times in our lives, whether in work, in relationships, and in any situation. I'm sure you could think of a situation where you felt like you were the target. So when you come to an understanding of why you accepted that for yourself, it will help you to move forward. There could be 1,000,001 reasons why the person that lied, stolen, cheated, manipulated, all those other things that, are not kind and self-serving, you can drive yourself crazy just by trying to figure out what the motivation was or is. It could just, what it falls down, basically it boils down to fear or lack of something. And even fear of not dealing with those past traumas. Perhaps a father that left the home, maybe stepped out with another woman and came from a broken home, and maybe the mom also neglected her children, or maybe overcompensated, or drank, and self-medicated. And so these things do affect young children, and it could follow them up into adulthood and affect their relationships. And some people just are raised that way, to basically get whatever you can from a partner and keep them at arm's distance, or just go to the next person. A lot of that is greed. A lot of that is love of money. All that is taught. That most people are not born with that. So if you date someone that puts money over the feelings of others in the situation. 9 times out of 10, if they come from a family dynamic where they do come from a family dynamic where either the mother or the father or both put that or prioritize material things, money, possessions, status, clout, over relationships, over the feelings of others, things that will make them feel secure. So, like I said, there could be so many reasons why people act the way they do, and you will never really understand that people's why unless you were them, because everyone has a unique story. So my message is to, as you go through your healing, as you go through the steps, the work, to get to a place where you see the light again, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. There are no shortcuts. So if you think there's a shortcut, and I mean, if you truly cared about this relationship or that situation you just came out of or that happened, you know, it could take a while. You might get triggered. I've talked to so many people, so many women, and a few men that have gone through this where there was an imbalance in the relationship, and a lot of the times it is a material choice. It's a choice of material over everything, over morals, over your values. And I mean, everybody's values and morals are also different. So there's different priorities. There's different morals and values that people have. There's different levels of security. Someone might be secure having $100 extra in the bank, and some people might be secure with having $100,000 in the bank. And some people might have $1 million and still not feel secure. And like I said, my point is that everyone has a different situation. Everybody's story is unique. But if you are trying to figure out other people's motivations or why they have these distorted views, unless you're them, okay, unless you're that person, you might not. You could probably intuitively know it's several of these reasons: family values, their background, their level of priority, education, level of maturity, their level of spirituality. And I'm not knocking on any of those. Everyone's different. Everyone comes in at a certain level, and there's different levels of interest. So say you would like to be more aligned with the good in the world and the good this world has to offer, then to get in alignment, you have to put out, right, that same vibrational match. If it's a positive thing, you're helping people, you're maybe even helping people heal or giving people advice or helping them. It doesn't have to be on a personal level. It could be like on a work level. Say you're helping someone on a project, not out of your own gain, but to really help that person learn. Those are good intentions. Maybe there's someone who's shy at an event that you go to, and they're sitting by themselves at a table, and you go and sit with them and maybe have a great conversation. You learn more about that person. And had you not asked, hey, can I sit with you? Maybe you would have never had another chance to meet such a wonderful human being. So this message is about focusing on what your why is. Why, what motivates you? What is your why? And someone said this the other day about, like, something along the lines of helping people or being empathic was like a codependency, because that person needs that validation. And maybe I misunderstood it, but I don't agree with that. I mean, if you are doing things and you're empathic and you use your empathy in order to do things to make you feel good, then, not saying that's right or wrong, you're going to keep on needing that. You're going to have to keep on giving. Again, that's an outside source, is helping. But if you're doing things because you feel it in your heart center, you feel motivated, you feel led, and you don't expect thank you, don't expect anything back. That is not, in my opinion, okay, that if you guys have a different idea on that, definitely leave it on the comments below. But that's not a codependency to me. To me, that's paying it forward. You don't do things to make yourself, and I don't do things to make myself feel good about doing it. It's usually because I want to, because I genuinely want to help someone. So it's crazy how I don't remember the video, but it's interesting. It's an interesting perspective, first of all, to hear that. But I wanted to make a comment on it because it's not necessarily true. And maybe it is true for some people, but if you're helping people for genuinely caring about that person, those people, your coworkers, your family, even total strangers, and you do it because you can, and not to feel good, because you don't need anything outside of yourself. Because if that's the case, you could just pray for that person and set the intention for that person in silence and never having interaction with them. So I just wanted to put that out there. I know maybe that was confusing. I don't know if that made sense, but I just wanted to. And if I could find the video, I'll try to find the video. But if you're going to do things, I've done a video on this before, do things out of the kindness of your heart because you want to, and it's in you to do that, and you want to help. And a lot of us do want to help, because we have so much abundance in our lives, and we have, maybe your life isn't perfect, but you still want to pay it forward, and you still want to help. And it doesn't have to be monetary. It could be just your time, your effort, your intentions. Some of us, believe it or not, find great satisfaction in that, and paying it forward and being aligned with what God's will is, or whatever your spiritual team has in store for you, whatever your life purpose is. So I just want to put that out there. I hope I made sense. I'm really tired, but I just want to leave it at that. I wanted to do a follow-up on my last video. We can move past anything. We are very powerful beings. We're very We're here to, you know, have the ups and downs, but also be able to look at things and not be so attached. You could learn your lessons, but you could also have fun. You can be involved in the drama, and you could also be the observer. You could be detached, and you could move on to the next. No one is stuck anywhere, unless the only person that could keep you stuck is yourself. We are creators. We are co-creators with the universe. We are co-creators with God. I encourage you to dive deep, develop your spiritual gifts, and I will see you guys on the next video. Take care.